Welcome to Minghui Radio's Falun Dafa podcast, bringing you a window into the lives of Falun Dafa practitioners across China and throughout the world. Stories include first-hand accounts from practitioners who face persecution in China, as well as insights and experiences gained by practitioners during the course of their cultivation.
The following is an experience-sharing article entitled Face Criticism, Let Go of Attachments, and Cultivate Diligently Together by a Falun Dafa practitioner in China. The article was published on the Minghui website on March 15, 2024. I participated in various Dafa projects in the region, including distributing Falun Dafa materials, clarifying the truth face-to-face, sending righteous thoughts, and so on. Sometimes I would visit the homes of other practitioners who were suffering from illness karma and study the Fa with them. For being busy with many things, I had become complacent. I was diligent, but I couldn't calm down when sending righteous thoughts. A practitioner suggested that we watch the video of Master's lectures and write down our thoughts after watching. My mind did calm down in the process, and I could maintain concentration while sending righteous thoughts and studying the Fa. I wrote down my experience during the time after Fa study and asked the coordinating practitioner to help me revise it. That was great, as I had been unwilling to be critiqued. I was inoculating myself along the way, thinking that no matter what revisions other practitioners would put forward, I would accept and correct whatever it would be. Perhaps the coordinating practitioner had long noticed that my recent cultivation state had been deficient, so she sharply pointed out many of my problems after briefly glancing at my paper. What I only see is a showing off and jealousy mentality in this paper. Why are you trying to show off? You said that other practitioners are jealous of you. Isn't that caused by your own behavior? You have been interrupting others, and your speech has carried a strong desire to show off. Can others feel comfortable listening to that? Since the coordinating practitioner and I often worked together on projects and are relatively close to each other, our communication has been direct. However, facing her tense facial expression, blunt words, and a series of rhetorical questions, I felt it was unbearable, even though I was prepared. She kept moving around, going to the kitchen or to the toilet, and I was like a student who was left in the room to reflect after being lectured to. I felt embarrassed, thinking about leaving, but my rational side persuaded me to stay. I can't leave. I knew that I had been jealous, but I often felt that I couldn't do anything about it. Now she had pointed it out, I finally had some insights into the problems. I must face it squarely, and I cannot leave. I suppressed my face saving and asked her to elaborate on my problems when she returned. She said angrily, "Do I need to elaborate more? Isn't it obvious? Your paper kept talking about superficial things and doesn't address your rather big jealousy." It was already 1 o'clock in the morning when I left her house. The street was very quiet on my way home. I kept thinking of the experience at the practitioner's place. Her tense facial expression and serious tone made me murmur in my mind, "You call yourself a cultivator? Look at you, having such a long face with no trace of any kind thoughts." I tossed and turned after getting home, feeling the jealous part of me that I was trying to disintegrate, struggling, and making me restless. The next day, my thinking seemed to be stuck. My brain was in chaos. I wanted to follow the practitioner's criticisms and rectify myself, but I couldn't remember any details. There was always a strong emotion in me. I felt I had been wronged, even wanting to cry out loud. I knew that it was not me, but the jealous spirit in another dimension that was causing trouble. I decided not to do anything for the day and just stay home and get rid of this jealousy. This jealousy wanted to make me think bad things about the coordinating practitioner, so I would go against it and think good about her. How could I get rid of the attachments hidden deep in my heart if it were not for her rhetorical questions? If no one exposes me, how can I improve? Today is the day to eliminate jealousy. While thinking about this life, I could feel that my head was swollen, as if it was pressed by a millstone, and it was difficult for my neck to turn. I was firm that I would hold on to my own thoughts, never following the thoughts of the spirit of jealousy. I asked Master in my heart to help me destroy that bad stuff. Miraculously, this uncomfortable and stuck state of mind disappeared after one day. I felt refreshed and my thoughts were clear the next morning. The feelings of resentment, grievance, and injustice were all gone. I felt like crying, but that kind of crying came from gratitude. I was amazed that Dafa could cleanse my complicated and turbid thoughts. I thought of the help the other practitioners had offered me, and I felt that everything was so mysterious. I could not describe the beauty of that feeling. I have made changes since then. For example, I visited a practitioner an hour later after she was late for our appointment because she had gone to the wrong place. In the past, even if I wouldn't say anything, I would have complained silently, but things were different now. While waiting for other practitioners on another occasion, I was calm and took the time to think about our cooperation. I unconsciously had a special feeling. During this fall rectification time, practitioners are fated to do things together. The Dafa project is grand. The gods are blessing us, and the universe is focusing on us. I can no longer think about problems from my own point of view and find others' fault over trivial things. I should open my mind and cherish this cooperation. I used to feel tired when distributing the Dafa materials, and I would not feel like wanting to go out. But now I often feel being moved to tears when distributing the materials, and I feel that the wisdom and compassion from Dafa are everywhere, and life can be saved by just accepting a copy of the materials. The thoughts of being self-righteous no longer existed. In recent years, I have been visiting the homes of some practitioners who suffered from illness karma, studying and discussing the fall with them. I used to be very anxious when I saw their illness symptoms lingering for a long time, and I would become impatient, complain, and blame them. A particular practitioner with illness karma wouldn't listen to me as a result, and she wouldn't even allow me to go to her house. Later, I often took the initiative of going to her place to send righteous thoughts to eliminate the evil's persecution when her situation worsened, and I sometimes would stay overnight at her place to take care of her. Gradually, her attitude towards me softened. Once, the coordinating practitioner and I went to her home to study the Fa. During the process, I shared my heart-wrenching experience with jealousy, and they talked about their experiences. Unexpectedly, she became inspired after hearing our sharing and sighed. Oh, so this is how to look within oneself. I finally know how to cultivate. She used to refuse to see us when the coordinating practitioner and I suggested getting a few more practitioners to study the Fa with her. But this time, she readily agreed. In addition to visiting other practitioners with illness karma, I also joined a local group that distributes Dafa materials. The group was established to help some individual practitioners work together as one body and to expand the distribution area. The group had 6 to 7 practitioners when it was established at the beginning of 2022. They took the materials from me and distributed them to different units and buildings. Now, after over a year, we consistently have 4 people. Someone in our group would need to plan the distributing area to prevent overlaps or misses, and also to avoid surveillance monitors. Every week, I would need to visit the site in advance and take other practitioners to the site, to get familiar with the terrain. In addition, I would take care of other DAFA projects as needed. The operation gradually stabilized after a year. Other practitioners began to pay attention to surrounding communities that meet the requirements, and they would provide distribution plans during the gathering. I gradually took a back seat. With Master's blessing, we have operated in an orderly manner, even during the pandemic. Every time we finished distributing the materials, the lockdown began. After the lockdown was lifted, new materials would arrive, and we would distribute them in a timely manner. Some practitioners sighed. Although they locked us down from time to time, it did not delay our things at all. Over the past year or so, my impatience and ego have gradually faded away. I have become calmer when encountering problems, and I have become more comfortable cooperating with other practitioners. One practitioner in the group works as a caregiver in the homes of paralyzed people. Some practitioners are housewives who take care of their children. There was a time when my mother was hospitalized and needed my company, but no practitioner was absent when we distributed the materials together. This made me feel deeply that we are a one body, and the operation of a group corresponds to the operation of a system in another dimension. Master has laid out the mechanism of the Fa, and each of us is a link in the mechanism. DAFA projects do not need a team leader because everyone plays a coordinating role. As a particle of DAFA, we only need to hold on to our thoughts and stick to our projects, dissolve into DAFA, and dissolve into the mechanism that is constantly operating. We are being refined during the process, while those notions that do not conform to the characteristics of the new universe will be melted instantly, like sawdust in molten steel.
The following is an experience-sharing article entitled Falun Dafa's Amazing Power by a Falun Dafa practitioner in China. The article was published on the Minghui website on March 15, 2024. I am a Falun Dafa practitioner and am almost 60 years old. 3 practitioners and I were arrested when another practitioner's cell phone was monitored. I did not have strong righteous thoughts, and I thought I would be persecuted because the police considered me a key person. This thinking was not in line with the Fa, and it acknowledged the old forces arrangements. As a result, I was sentenced to prison. A prisoner picked up a copy of the Truth Clarification brochure that was on the ground when he once worked outside the prison. The brochure had detailed information about Falun Dafa, as well as stories about how good is rewarded and evil is punished. I read it several times and showed it to the inmates, including the ones who were assigned to watch me. They did not report me. Instead, they kindly reminded me to be careful. I thought I should also show the brochure to the prison officers so that they could understand the truth and stop committing crimes against Dafa. The officers were poisoned by the CCP, Chinese Communist Party's lies, and they did not know the truth, so some opposed Dafa. I knew I would need to tell them the truth. I talked to the team lead first. Thank you for your help. The information in this brochure can help you understand the truth and answer your questions about life. He looked at the brochure, got angry, and shouted, "How dare you give this to me? Do you want to extend your sentence?" I was calm and told him sincerely, "If you can read this brochure and understand the truth, you will have a bright future. I'm risking my life to offer you this information." My only thought was to save him, and I wished the best for him. Upon hearing my kind words, he changed his attitude and tone. He quietly said, "Please leave it here. You can go back now." He called me to the office a few days later. "Where did you get the brochure? Are there more?" I told him a prisoner picked it up while working outside, and it was the only copy. He said, "Okay, I will keep it and not give it back to you. I have a copy of the Constitution, and you can see what it says." When I returned it to him, I said, I read it and found that Falun Dafa practitioners did not break any laws. It is the government who broke the law. He did not answer me directly and just said, please take good care of yourself and don't come back here to prison again. This is not the place you should be. Later, some practitioners' handwritten copies of the 9 commentaries on the Communist Party were confiscated when the cells were searched. The team lead came to me and said, the copies of 9 commentaries on the Communist Party are not complete. Do you have the rest? I told him those were all we had, and I asked him to return them to us. He said, you can come and quietly take them when I'm not around. I said, thank you. You will be rewarded for your kindness. When I was about to be released from prison, he gave me his email address and asked me to send him some information about Falun Dafa. I agreed. After he understood the truth, he held righteous thoughts and protected practitioners. He had chosen a great future for himself. Part 1. Dafa bestows us with divine power. One day in 2001, I was reported to the police and arrested for organizing other practitioners to distribute the truth-clarifying materials. The police interrogated me and detained me at the police station all night. They planned to take me to a detention center in the morning. I looked inward and found some of my attachments, such as pursuing fame, zealotry, impatience, etc. I realized my mindset had caused the other practitioners and me to be arrested. But I thought, Master told us this is the Fa rectification period, and we are here to clarify the truth and awaken people. There is nothing wrong with distributing the materials, and I should not be imprisoned or passively accept the persecution. I had righteous thoughts, and Master arranged an opportunity for me to get out. Around 3 a.m., while most of the officers were sleeping, I told an officer that I needed to use the bathroom. I found a half-meter wide opening at the window above the radiator, and there was no screen on the window. I grabbed the radiator pipe and jumped out. The police noticed I was gone and shouted, "Someone is running away, get him." I was not familiar with the area, so I didn't know where to run to. I ran past several residential buildings where people were doing their morning exercises outside. I ran into a cornfield, and the police came in cars and circled the field. I could see their flashing lights, but they could not find me. I did not stop and kept running through the cornfields. After I finally ran away from the police several hours later, I was able to contact a practitioner, and with his help, I left my hometown and went to another place. I later heard that the deputy head of the city police department and some branch heads who were in charge of persecuting Falun Dafa went to that police station to investigate. They found it was impossible that I could possibly jump out of such a high window, and they suspected someone inside the police station might have helped me. I know that without Master's strengthening and help, without the divine power that Dafa bestowed on me, I would never be able to jump out of the high window and escape without being injured. I know that compassionate Master helped me overcome the tribulation, and I understood what Master said in Lecture 1 from Zhuan Falun, quote, "Cultivation depends on one's own efforts, while the transformation of Gong is done by one's Master," unquote. As long as our thoughts and actions comply with the Fa, Master Li will arrange the best for us. Part 2. Eliminate Human Notions. Master taught us in Lecture 4 from Zhuan Falun, quote, "We have said that good or bad comes from a person's initial thought, and the thought at that moment can bring about different consequences," unquote. Some people said that when a person reaches the age of 48, one would begin having problems with his eyesight. When someone said that to me, I immediately denied it, and I told them that I practice Falun Dafa. I'm 59 years old now, and my eyesight is fine. As a practitioner, we should eliminate our human notions and use Master's Fa to measure our every thought and action. Only then can we truly walk on the divine path. When our thoughts and actions conform to the Fa, Master will strengthen us, and Dafa will bestow us with divine powers and show miracles. I've been very fortunate to practice Falun Dafa for 27 years. Before I started practicing, I suffered from rheumatism, bone hyperplasia, and hemorrhoids, and I would take medicine, go to physical therapy, and drink medicated wine. Master purified my body. I recovered from all my illnesses. I am illness-free, and I enjoy a happy life. Many foods in China are poisonous, and some people would get sick, especially old people. I've been healthy for 27 years and did not take any medicine. Some of my friends were surprised and said, "You look as if you're in your 40s. If I hadn't practiced Falun Dafa, I would have suffered from severe illnesses by now. However, I am in very good health, and the illnesses that once plagued me for years in the past are gone. This is a miracle that cannot be explained by science, and a manifestation of the divine power that Dafa bestowed me with."
Thank you for listening to the Minghui Radio Podcast. For more information, including news about the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China and experience sharing stories by practitioners around the world, please visit our website at en.minghui.org.